The Logic of Self-Production, based on Chapter 7 of George Kampis's Self-Modifying Systems in Biology and Cognitive Science, 1991. If life doesn't just run, but constructs itself as it runs, then how does it do it? How does a system produce its own parts, maintain its own structure, and still evolve over time? In other words, how can a system be its own cause? That's the question at the heart of Chapter 7 of George Kampis's work, where the idea of self-modifying systems expands into a deeper and more radical form: self-production. This isn't just complexity anymore. This is life's loop, folding itself into itself, maintaining its identity while changing from within. Let's enter the logic of living construction. What self-production is not. Kampis begins with a warning. Don't confuse self-production with self-replication. A photocopier makes copies. A Turing machine reproduces states. But neither builds itself in the way a living cell does. True self-production involves something much deeper. The system creates and maintains its own components. These components interact to preserve the structure that made them. And the whole system defines itself by this circular causal chain. Kampis takes inspiration here from autopoiesis, a concept developed by Maturana and Varela in theoretical biology. Autopoiesis means a system is produced by a network of processes that regenerate and realize that same network. 2. Closure under construction. Now Kampis adds something new, a formal way to talk about self-production in component systems. He proposes a key idea: closure under construction. This means that within a system, the operations and processes needed to build or replace its own components must themselves be generated within the system. Imagine a cell. Proteins synthesize other proteins. Enzymes catalyze the production of the very enzymes that made them. Membranes enclose the system that builds the membrane. It's not that something is added from the outside. It's that the system is a network of productive loops. A machine that makes its own machine from itself. 3. Component space and internal growth. Next, Kampis extends the idea of state space to what he calls component space. In classical systems, we define all the variables from the start. In self-producing systems, however, the components emerge, interact, and redefine the space of what's possible. That means the system doesn't just traverse a pre-built map. It draws the map as it goes. And because these components are themselves capable of acting, they can produce entirely new component types, leading to internal, irreversible growth in the system's capability. This is not computation. This is construction from within. 4. Biology reimagined. Kampis closes the chapter with a challenge to biology itself. He argues that current biological models, especially in molecular biology, treat systems as reactive and predefined. But real organisms aren't like that. Cells grow new metabolic routes. Development reconfigures its own regulation. Evolution tinkers with its own toolkit. To truly model life, we must see organisms as self-producing component systems, capable of generating not just new states, but new possibilities. Conclusion: life is its own engine. So let's return to our question. How can a system be its own cause? The answer Kampis offers is profound. Through closure under construction. Through self-producing components. Through an ongoing, looping, evolving cycle of becoming itself. Life, in this view, is not a process applied to a structure. It is a structure that grows its own process, again and again. This is the foundation for understanding autonomy, identity, and organic complexity. Not just a machine that runs, but a machine that remakes the machine. In our next episode, we'll follow this idea into a new realm. What happens when these self-producing systems begin to encode, represent, and communicate? Next stop: information redefined. Until then, stay sharp, Stay curious. And remember, DeepVisus, where vision meets depth.